regular council meeting of January 22nd, 2015. If I could get everyone to stand, I will lead the invocation and pledge to the flag tonight. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, for all that you've done for us. We thank you for the opportunity to come out tonight and to participate in the political process, to conduct city business, to work to improve our community. And Lord, we value every opportunity to do this. We value input from citizens and council members alike. And we just ask that, Lord, you would guide and direct us in everything that is said and done, that everything would be to build a stronger community and ultimately to get glory to you. These things we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. We're in a proper salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Janet, if we could have the roll call, please.
Mayor Lambert.
Here.
Vice Mayor Bradley. Councilmember Cagle.
Here.
Councilmember Manning.
Here.
Councilmember Sewell.
Here.
City Manager Hyatt.
Here.
City Attorney Hall.
Thank you. Before we get rolling into the consent agenda, just wanted to remind everyone again to, of course, keep the Dean family in your prayers, in your thoughts. Of course, Billy Dean has, for years now, helped to line up those who would lead us in our invocation and pledge to the flag every meeting, and I believe he is going to relinquish that, and so we're going to look for a different method of doing that. But again, considering the loss that family has suffered here in recent days, again, I would just ask that everyone keep them in their thoughts and prayers. And we have several families who have been impacted lately, and people who have lived and worked in East Ridge for many, many years and have made a real difference here in our community. And at this time, I will ask if anyone has a motion in regard to the consent agenda. Make a motion.
Before we get a second, I have a
Yes, sir.
question about the financial report.
Absolutely.
The economic development assistance in cities, we have down here, we've paid out 1.5 million. I thought the total was 2 million.
The 1.5 million is from the general fund. There's been another $500,000 paid out from the capital improvements fund, and then another $1 million that was just paid out since the December month was closed out. The $1 million was just provided to the developer from the capital fund on Tuesday. So that's now a total of $3 million, but the 1.5 million just came from the general fund.
Other $500,000 come from where?
Capital improvement.
Capital, so where do we show it in expenditures? Where do you show the $500,000 in the expenditures? Because I don't see it on here.
It's not on here. This is traditional what the council's asked for. I'm glad to bring it with me to the next meeting or provide that to you. It came from, these expenditures were budgeted from the fund balance. When the budget was amended to provide for these, they came from general fund reserves. In the case of the capital budget, those funds are going to be replenished. They're going to be taken from the capital fund and then replenished by $1.5 million in the bond in the city seat.
So I reckon my question is, at the end of the year, shouldn't we show the total expenditure on the cities? On this thing, what we generally get, where I would know what we have given in the cities?
Yes. If I understand understand your question correctly, this will.
So we've already given them 2 million, correct?
We've now given them 3 million,
3
that's
million.
Tuesday.
But I'm talking about as of December 31st, when I got
$2 million.
2 million.
Yes, sir.
It's not showing here.
$500,000 is not going to show up on the general fund budget because it came out of a capital improvement projects budget. It's a separate document. It's a separate fund that will show up on your fund balances at the end of the year. That's like a beginning of year, end of the year. It's an audited document that you get. It doesn't necessarily, it won't show up in the general
So
fund.
they show up on the line by line item budget?
No, it'll show up on your audited document that you'll have.
Okay, do we have any other questions? Mr. Sewell, if you would like to try again. Okay, we have a second. We have a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Manning.
Yes.
Councilmember Stoll.
Yes.
Mayor Lambert.
Yes. This time we'll entertain communication from citizens. If you are a citizen of the city of East Ridge or a business owner here in the city and have a comment, question, or concern you'd like to bring to the council, this would be your opportunity to do so. If you would approach one of the 2 microphones here at the front of the room, state your name and address for the record. You'll have 5 minutes.
I don't know if it's, I'm scared. Okay. All right, my name is Christopher Schilber, 4106 South Terrace, teacher here at the middle school. Been there for 15 years, love it. But my issue has nothing to do with the middle school, although we do have some pests there. Just kidding, that's a joke. But that is my issue. It is an issue of pests. In particular, we're talking about the larger rodent. I purchased my house about 02. Had one minor problem. It was back before East Ridge had the covered trash cans, and there's a quadruplex right next door. We had a minor problem with the larger rodent. You know, of course, of which I speak. I hope. Rats. And then the last 9 years, nothing. About 3 years ago, a house 2 doors down became foreclosed on and has been abandoned for the last 3 years. And 2 summers ago, we had what turned into a major incursion. At the end of it all, some 16 larger rodents were captured by me, and I managed to plug up a hole. I'll tell you, if you ever want to find out where you need to really insulate your house, just have a rat infestation. You'll find every hole there is, because they find it for you. And I thought I had solved the problem. And then this last summer, I was noticing some issues and some activity, and had another one. So this time I just called an exterminator. And they have managed to solve my problem, but we have still had some issues in the basement, in the crawl space, which I've never had over the last 9 years. We actually ended up putting a base station down there, which for about 4 months was constantly being hit. So I finally figured out that I had some other holes that I needed to do in and around my foundation. Finally plugged all those up. So I no longer have, thank goodness, because I don't know about you, that's not something that's fun to have in your home. Managed to keep them from coming into the home. But now my concern is not even for my welfare, but for my neighborhood. Because the base stations, according to my exterminator, every time it comes out every month, there's 2 of them outside in the back. They're completely empty, which means that basically, if he's putting 3 of those blocks of poison in there, that he's basically killing about 50 to 60 rats each time. So that means that every month there's 120 rats coming into, and I made the exaggerating. I texted him to make sure that this is accurate. So again, my concern is that this home has become a breeding ground for rats.
And you do think they are coming from that home?
Well, Yeah, if you look inside one window, you will see excrement, rat excrement. And it's just, if you look at the home, if you look at the back, there's an old pool, swimming pool, there's a jacuzzi that's no longer obviously working, and there's all sorts of places. I'm a science teacher, I teach 6th grade science, so I know a little bit about how these critters operate. Every 30 days, they can create a litter of about 9. And so I'm convinced, you know, I mean, you're more than welcome to come and look at the neighbors and my properties to see. I mean, I would expect over, you know, since I've lived there to have a few in the wooded area behind my house, but something like some 60 every month that are being eliminated, that's pretty significant. So I'm just concerned about my neighborhood now.
Certainly.
And I think that's what I want to bring to your attention. I didn't know what the city had available as far as how to deal with that.
Brent, I think this should come up before, because he's talked to me at school, and I brought it up probably back in the summer. From what I understand, that house is in foreclosure, and I heard that I think they said that, I talked to Coach, Coach said it has been bought. But it has to stay in courts, probably for a year before this other, whoever bought it will have status. We're doing all the maintenance on the house, free of charge, from what I understand.
Well, I think what you're referring to is a right of redemption under law that you foreclose on a property like that. But whoever purchases it right now has legal title to the property and is obligated legally to maintain the property. Now, the original owner will get foreclosed and come back in a year and redeem it or something like that. But whoever owns the property now, if y'all get me the name of the owner, I'll contact them and see what
I think Coach may know, but can we still, we're not going to condemn the house?
we can't.
Even
If
if
it meets the qualifications for
Is that
concept.
like a lease?
But in the meantime, would it be,
He's worried about if we tear the
well,
house down, we're all.
yeah, I mean, that's definitely an issue. My exterminator has told me about numerous times where he's been next to a construction site, because they'll burrow into the ground. And if there's that many of them that are being exterminated, as it were, by the space stations, there's just got to be burrows just all over the place back behind the house. And when you tear down a place, dig up the ground, they scatter. It's going to be like you're going to need the Pied Piper.
Does this pool have water in it? I guess it does, you said it's a pool behind the house also?
Yeah, I think it's still there. I haven't gone and looked back in there, but they used to have a pool, and then there was like a jacuzzi or a hot tub, and all wood, and just, you know, granted, I have a wood pile for my fireplace, but again, over the last 9 years, nothing. And now all of a sudden, the last 2 summers, it's been really significant. And I'm wondering if I could, could I have my exterminator put base stations over there as well? Or would that be something that'd be crossing the line?
I think, I don't know if you would be able to actually place something on the
Right.
property. I think probably there are a couple of things that need to get done. One, it sounds like we need to get in touch with the owner, if at all possible, and see if we can gain access to the property, because if that is where the problem is coming from, the problem needs to be dealt
I
with.
partly think that it's no longer where they are, because there's no longer people there, so there's no longer food for them. So now they've completely branched out. You know, there may still be some in and around the home, but from talking to my next door neighbor who lived directly next to them, when there were people living there, that they said that they would tell them that they were having issues, but when you have people living in a home, they tend to stay there. You know, they're just looking for food, you know. And so now there's nobody living there. I'm just concerned, honestly, that this could become a pretty serious thing.
Let me
If
make
it's
sure I
strong.
understand, because I apologize, I'm not sure that I do. You're not suggesting that perhaps the way to resolve this is something like condemnation by the city and tearing down the house? You think that makes it worse? Is that what
Well, if you don't eliminate the rats that are in and around the home, they're just going to scatter, because you're disrupting. They burrow into the ground like rats. That's where. So that's why they liked my crawl space. That was the spot that they honed in on. They've exploited the openings in the, underneath the foundation where they could get in, they got in, they go, oh, this is a nice spot.
So
Set up shop.
if we could encourage the owner to obtain an exterminator to do apparently what you've done, attempted to do
Yeah,
at your
absolutely.
house, would that be the best
That would be a
resolution?
really good solution. Yeah, at this point, but certainly, I think they branched out into, there's a wooded area behind that house. It's a very wooded area of East Greenwich. And so my concern too is that they may be not even in the home anymore, just burrows here, burrows there. I mean, and I would not be standing here were it not for my exterminator telling me, every time he comes, he fills out a report, and every time he comes, those bait stations are empty. And for a while, the one in the basement was empty in my crawl space. And so that's my concern, is that we're looking at a lot of rats, more rats than are normal in an ecosystem.
Right, I think we need to have Mr. Hyde, if we could have codes kind of coordinate with the city attorney and try to get the owner's name, and let's try to make contact with
That would be great. And again, I don't even know if that property is the issue anymore.
Right.
Because if they're coming in, now, my next door neighbor hadn't had a problem, but now they're saying they have a problem. They have 4 cats.
What is the address of the?
The home, I think it's, I'm trying to remember which direction it's 41, I think it's 4110. Either 4110 or, yeah, 'cause I'm 4106, 4108, 4110.
Okay,
And,
Gary knows where it's at, so I spoke to him about this.
okay.
and, you know, and again, I'm not just thinking of myself here at this point, because I think I've eliminated them coming into my home. I'm concerned about the entire neighborhood and the well-being really of the city, because they can really, really multiply. It's scary. You can start with 2 and end up with thousands every time. And I'm not trying to.
Well, thank you.
Doom and gloom.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you very much, and we will definitely look into this situation.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Do we have anyone else? Okay. Oh, would you?
Francis Pope, 1913 Close Road. Councilman Cagle, I want to thank you. I think that was a very good point you made, and that you looked at it and questioned that. And would a solution to that not be, instead of just doing the general fund, that council requests that all funds be addressed on a monthly basis? That wouldn't be that difficult, would it? The street aid fund, the drug fund, the capital improvements fund.
The city could quite easily provide financial statements each month. We've provided, from what I understand, what the council up until recently preferred, but if it's the desire of the council, we'd be glad to provide those.
But I appreciate that, and I thought that was a very, very good point to make, and that it seems to be a pretty simple solution. The other question I have, old business, B and C, permission to obtain bids for the GPSs and the time clocks. This was voted in the budget. I remember it being discussed, the GPS and the time clocks. Once council approves that budget, with these items discussed in it, is staff not able to go ahead without another vote and obtain bids? Because after the bids are obtained, then it has to come before council who gets that bid. But since this was voted on June, and here we are January, if this step had been left out, staff could already have had those bids and had this done, my point.
From a legal standpoint,
I think that's true. I mean, clearly, if it was included in the budget, if GPS systems and time clocks were included in the original budget, it would still have to be bid. There's no question about that. But yeah, I think this is an extra step that perhaps wasn't necessary, but I mean, it's not a bad thing.
I think part of that is, I think part of that probably, I haven't spoken with anyone about this, but I think part of that probably is an effort to let everyone know, hey, we're looking at doing this now, be prepared to see a request for funds to be spent, rather than someone showing up and saying, okay, we've got these bids, and it kind of comes as a surprise. Okay, well, you realize you were doing that right now, even though it is in the budget. So I think that's probably what it was, but I haven't spoken with anyone.
Well, see, I didn't know if staff was holding, posting the bid request for council's approval, because that's what it looks like. And it was brought up a few months back since the budget was voted, and then there seemed, in my opinion, as a citizen listening, there seemed to be some council reservations about it, but it was voted on. So I think it would make staff's job easier if they were at least able to go ahead and obtain the bids if it was approved in the budget, because it's gonna have to come back to you guys before the money's spent anyway.
Well, but the flip side of that is, in the interest of disclosure, to me, it's better to deal with it on the front end rather than the bids go out and it comes before the council for approval and somebody questions it. We say, oh, didn't you see that? That was line 476 in the budget.
Okay.
I think, to me, this is an interest of full disclosure that, yes, that was included in the budget, but, staff is seeking now permission to obtain bids, of which the council will vote on in some subsequent time.
In addition, kind of a follow-up to that, Hal, is the staff does spend a considerable amount of time, especially depending on the bid documents. Some bids are a little bit more clear-cut, you need to be a bit more creative. So some bid documentation, as Al knows, takes longer, Mr. Hodge knows, takes longer to put together than others. So before we invest that time on the front end and in the period before we open bids and go through that process, get that guidance from council makes sense. It's one reason to.
Well, I certainly hope you gentlemen, since you did vote on this, put it in the budget, you give these gentlemen the go-ahead to go ahead and move forward with it while we're still in this budget. Thank you.
I guess, again, the point I'm trying to make is, if there's a question about disclosure, my recommendation always over-disclose, and we can always deal with that, rather than later on, somebody comes back with a question and says, oh gosh, you should have seen it was buried on page 612 of the budget, or something like that.
I do think, too, what Thad just said makes a lot of sense as well. If staff went through a lot of effort to try to get those bids, and they brought them forward, and council said, well, yeah, we have it in the budget, but let's hold off right now. Money's a little tight, or whatever, we didn't actually accept or approve a bid, then you would have done all of that work for essentially nothing, especially if it goes another 30 days or 60 days and you have to rebid all over again because those bids, the old bids are no longer valid. So a couple of different ways to look at that, I guess. Thank you very much. We have anyone else? Yes, sir.
I appreciate it being brought to attention since I wasn't involved in the budget. So this would be the only way that I would know about it.
Right. True. Very true. All right. If we have no one else, we will go to communication from council members. Mr. Manning.
Nothing at this time.
Okay. Mr. Sewell.
One thing that I have to bring up is I talked in last night's meeting we had about the city setting up a meeting with Ruth and all involved to on this development, maybe bi-monthly and talk. We don't have to be here to go with the phone. That way everybody be able to talk with everything. Get a lot of calls, developers and stuff saying this, that, and the other, and I think it'd just be good to get it out. The mayor, our attorney, Mental, city manager, Ruth Ball, and the council would be there. It'd be a meeting with the attorneys, basically discuss in case something came up that they don't want out right now.
Just to keep everyone on the same page.
Keep everybody on the same page.
I would have no problem with that.
I'd like to see that set up and get that working.
So,
It'll be a closed meeting.
Sorry.
It'll be a closed meeting, not open to the public.
It will not be open to the public. It'll be an informational meeting. The council will not participate. There will be absolutely no deliberations whatsoever. That's what you're talking about.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have anything? Mr. Cagle?
No, sir, not this time.
Okay. Mr. Roll. All right. City manager will have an opportunity in just a moment. Actually have just a couple of things. One, with the nicer weather we've had this week, had a chance on Monday afternoon or Tuesday, Monday I guess it was, to go down to Camp Jordan to the new playground. I counted. There were 20 children there, and there were probably an additional 15 to 20 adults with those children, and they were everywhere. They were. Before I left there, I had 3 different people come up to me and say, "This is one of the best things y'all done in a long time," and so they were just tickled pink with that being there. And there's one fellow who lives up in Jordan Run there, who drives his golf cart down, and brought his granddaughter down, and he went on and on about how wonderful that playground is, and it is. It's very nice, very nice. So kudos to everyone who had a hand in that. I wanted to mention that, and I know we have some other properties, technically park properties, that are kind of spread out through the city. It would be really good. I know we talked the last time about possibly having a planning session for Parks and Rec, and it'd be really good to come up with a few ideas for how those can be utilized to the fullest. And some you probably already have a few ideas on what you'd like to see. And so I think kind of getting our heads together and looking at that possibility would be a good thing. That's all I have. Mr. Hyde.
Thank you, Mayor. A few meetings ago, we had a request about some museum hours, and we'd already had this in the works, and if you've already mentioned this, I apologize that last meeting, but we do have set hours at the museum on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 9 to 4, or 10 to 4. We've got a sign outside, it's got, okay. Sign has Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday on it. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday?
That's what I was saying.
Okay, look at the sign, we'll double check, we'll get that posted on our website. But we do have, there seems to be some confusion, we do have hours posted, and if we need to change the sign, we'll do that. So, the other thing, the fire station number 2 demo is scheduled to start tomorrow for us. We've completed the move of the impound lot. That is complete, everything is moved. We'll finish getting the fencing and flagpoles and those things down. We do have a bid quote, I guess, from a Clarence Taylor Construction Company to come in and they would take down, disassemble the building and put it on a property for us, what can be salvaged. They'll demo all the sheetrock, take down the steel ladder, stairs, mark the building, trim packages for future use. They've got all the manpower tools and everything, things we don't have, for a total of $24,550. Councilman Manning just gave me a card of somebody else, but I don't have a quote or
But he
from
didn't
him.
he didn't know anything about it today, nobody seen nothing.
Right, we weren't seeing anything, this was just unsolicited, somebody came up and asked us this, so, but I don't have anything there, but to get staff and to get the equipment and the possible liability of our guys climbing on this building and doing things, I think would far exceed this $24,000, so it might be good for us to consider this gentleman's offer to come in and do that for us, and he said he could do it in the time frame that we've set, that is remaining, which would be February 12th. So something to seriously consider, and I don't know if we want to add it to as an agenda item to consider if we can do that, or if we should do that. So I'll look for your leadership. One other thing, I also have a meeting set next Wednesday on a piece of property for the fire station. That'll be next Wednesday afternoon at 5 o'clock, and hopefully I'll get you information, and we'll have, might have to have a special call meeting to discuss that. So, and maybe not, but I'd like to have your permission to, if it's worthwhile, to possibly get this under contract at some point, to work with Hal on that, if it's worthwhile, and of course pending your approval. That way we have it under contract, so it doesn't go in a different direction, and more will come. I don't want to give too much information tonight, but I have had a conversation about a very, very positive piece of property. Chief Williams is supportive of it. He and I talked at length about this, so it's something that we will pursue next Wednesday. That's all I have. If y'all want to consider this, then.
I think that would be wonderful if we could get someone to do that for that price and that time frame. How about, this would just be my suggestion, obviously we can do it or not do it. Contact the person that Mr. Manning has there as well and just see what kind of price he can give us and get references of work that these folks have done in the past.
He does all kinds.
And maybe we call a meeting early next week. Maybe Monday, yeah. To try to conserve as much time as we can. And we go that direction, because I think that's again, if someone could do that work for that cost and do it right, it's worth it to me.
Well, the thing about it, it's $500,000 building, and I hate to see it get pulled up over. If we can use it somewhere in the future, something we need to talk down, we may talk about putting the garage back someday. A lot of things we can use that for, storage.
This Mr. Taylor, Clarence Taylor Construction, they were actually the people that put the building up.
Really?
So they know the building, they understand how it's put together, they understand how to take it apart, so I forgot to add that, so. That's a
pretty
huge
good
plus.
Yeah, that's a pretty good piece.
He's got all the equipment, and again, if we were to rent the equipment and do
Wow.
the things that we had to do, it'd probably run us $20,000, and that doesn't count our labor.
And I doubt if our guys can get it down to the length of
Well,
This is what they do for a living.
at this point, let's kind of look in that direction, get information from this other individual as well that Mr. Manning talked about, and look to have maybe a call meeting on Monday.
I'll let everybody know. I'll try to get that taken care of first thing in the morning, so we can, I'll maybe try to give this guy a call this evening and get something started.
Okay. We'll try to get out of here early enough
So we don't wake
to
up.
make that possible, exactly.
That's all I have.
Yes, okay.
I just thought of something. I spoke to our WWTA rep last night concerning our sewer bills, which we did not receive 2 months ago. We received them all on this month's bill. So instead of a $35 sewer bill, I ended up with a $91 sewer bill. So did you address that with them down there last night?
Yes.
I'd like to get his answer on that.
Sure. Doug, please. Please do.
My name is Don Siegel. I live at 654 Bluebird Circle. I'm your representative to WWTA. We had a board meeting yesterday, and the reason you got a double bill was that Tennessee American Water did not bill in December for some reason, and we didn't get Tennessee American Water billing that we could pass on to the third-party billing. So there was no billing in December due to Tennessee American Water Company. We are now we're trying to get a local third-party biller that we don't have to send our payments to California. So we're soliciting bids to get a third-party billing right now, a local billing company. But the reason there was no bill, you got a double bill, was Tennessee American Water did not supply us the data on the water usage that we use a formula to charge for the sewer bill. So that's the reason. And luckily, you had the money to pay for it, but a lot of people, under a stretch of economic conditions, don't have the $91 to pay a double bill. So we're addressing that with Tennessee American Water.
That's the ones that I was, talking about with you.
Right.
Senior citizens, because some of them out of this not dropping $900, $1,100 a month. So,
That's right.
if they've got to take $100
Right.
to go pay that sewage bill this month or get their sewage cut off, then they're going to be sitting out there wanting to know why again.
We're still not happy that Tennessee American Water, after 50 years, just told us in 2012 they were not going to bill anymore, after 50 years of billing. And the excuse they gave us was that they got a new software system that would not allow the third-party bill. And we're still not happy with Tennessee American Water.
But definitely made a lot of government entities start scrambling to try to figure out other ways of doing things. Obviously, our sanitation fee had shown up on the Tennessee American bill as well for years. And so we had to figure out a different way to bill for that.
Yes.
And so, yeah, that definitely caused a lot of ripples.
You know, I hate to see the seniors have to pay a penalty next month for just paying a partial payment this month.
I found out at our board meeting yesterday, we actually had $118,000 of late charges fee that people pay late. And we make an extra $118,000 on late payment fees. We're collecting around 96% collection rate right now for sewer bill. 96%. But 11% of that, well, there's a 15% leeway, 11% people pay late. But we're down to 96% payments. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate that information.
Mayor, if I may,
Yes, please.
respectfully request that we go ahead and set a meeting for Monday so we can get it advertised properly, not wait too late tomorrow. Even if it's just the one thing we consider.
Well, sounds fine to me. What time? Okay. We have a motion. What time would you? What time? 5:30.
Monday.
5:30. Okay, we have a motion to schedule a meeting for 5:30 on Monday. Then we have a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Manning.
Yes.
Councilmember Sewell.
Yes.
Mayor Lambert.
Yes. Of course, this is to discuss the fire hall. So that would be the purpose of the meeting, since you have to state the purpose of the meeting when you call it.
Just a definition.
I would say just discussion of fire hall property. Thank you. And with that, we will move to old business and resolution number 2453.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with Retail Strategies for market analysis, strategic planning, and retail improvement. This was tabled from January 8th.
Okay.
I believe that's taken by Mr. Brandon.
Yes, sir. And I spoke to the vice mayor today, and since he's not here, he asked that it remain on the table until our next meeting, which will be, I think, 12th of February.
Everyone good with that? Okay. So we will just leave it put right where it is. Okay, move to item B, permission to obtain bids for geographical positioning system.
Yes, Mayor, members of the council, the city would like to request your advice and feedback on proceeding with bids for a geographic positioning system for city vehicles. In addition to fleet management, efficiencies that the city can achieve there, it helps protect employees and our public safety codes, enforcement employees, and it also allows the city the ability to do a better job managing risk. Again, ranging from issues such as safety to incidents such as the garbage truck, which about a month ago. So, that wasn't budgeted. At this time, we would ask for the council's advice and consent to move forward with that process.
How many vehicles is this going to cost? Because aren't all the last new ones we bought, don't they already come with GPS?
They did not come with GPS.
Did not?
This one, who tabled this?
I don't remember.
Mark,
those were
Mark tabled them.
Those were all tabled because they were leftovers from the agenda session, or excuse me, they were at the tail end of the regular council meeting, right? And it was 10:15 or something.
Do we have any idea what that's gonna cost?
We'd have to bid it out.
You don't have any?
We put the budget for a combined,
How much is the budget?
we put for both of these items, this, as well as the next bid, was approximately $72,000. That's more than enough based on our estimates.
Did we get an answer on how many of the police cars, did the new cars come with them, JR?
We have GPS on our camera systems, as far as active, like, OnStar or something like that, we do not have that. But we have GPS into our camera systems.
They already got a bid.
But we're not talking about OnStar, we're talking about just,
Our own system.
Open system.
A single position system.
The only problem I've got with really both of these, I just feel like if it's gonna run around $74,000, we've got, some major things we've got to look at on down the road with this, interchange. And we're gonna have to come up with some money on that. I think if that becomes true, I think we need to try to save as much as we can. Look at what's maybe coming up. Oh, but these, well, Mark has to do that. He's gonna come on that.
Is he the one, that's not necessary, is it, for him to remove it from the table? Yeah.
I thought whoever tabled it had to remove it. I may be wrong.
It isn't our old friend Robert.
but these ones pay with the next one, too, so.
We're really gonna have a live meeting if,
If
he has to, if he's the one who has to remove it from the table.
Just want to be sure before we, do something.
Right, absolutely.
This consideration can be presumed that the will of the majority in preference to the new question may be completed within your consideration. I would say talk amongst yourselves.
Well, if allowed to take it off the table, this is just the bid process, it's gonna come back for approval, this is not the purchase process, so it's something
And the hope would be, as opposed to the quotes, we proceed the bidding process, and that process being competitive, would bring that price point in, and that's, again, I hope to,
Do we send out bids or you just put this out in general?
we would send the bids out to companies that are reputable within the field, as well as posted in news media, online, on the city
I
website.
just want to get it out to, because sometimes we only get bids on one person.
Yeah, we do this now,
Gerald,
as many as possible.
did you not say you sent out bids already?
Sure.
That's what we.
Have you sent out bids already on yours?
Have you sent out bids on your?
On GPS, no. We don't have any looking at any track.
It doesn't appear
I'll make a motion to remove it from the table so we vote on
Okay, we have a motion to remove it from the table. We have a second.
I'll second.
We have a second to remove it from the table. Roll call, please.
No, we're just voting for bid process.
Yeah, just a bid process.
Voting to take it
Well, right,
off the
yeah,
table.
right. If we get through the taking it off the table process, then all we would be voting on is just the bid process. Right. Exactly. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Cagle.
it. Yes.
Councilmember Manning.
Yes.
Councilmember Sewell.
Yes.
Mayor Lambert.
Yes. Okay, do we have a motion in regard to obtaining bids?
Make a motion to take bids. Go ahead and do both, B and C.
Well, we have to take C off the table as well, so let's just do B right now.
Right, for B. Geographic position system.
Okay, we have a motion, do we have a second?
Just get the bids right.
That's right, just
Okay, I'll
get
check.
bids. Okay. Do we have any other comments or questions?
Yes, I never get an answer on how many vehicles.
70, roughly 70.
Is that every vehicle that's in within the city?
Yes.
Garbage trucks, street department, fire department, everybody?
Yes. All three.
It depends on how many are actually in use. So, if you would like to know. Okay. Chief, if you don't mind.
How many vehicles?
Running.
Exactly.
I can tell you not running. We're looking in the area of around 40 right now. We're in that transition mode, trying to get the cars that we're moving, preparing to sell, the 09 Chevrolets, which ones we're going to keep, which ones we're moving from patrol division into ID and the rest of administrative services. So right now, we're looking at around 40 of our cars.
Good.
About that many. When you include our shrubs, streets, parks.
About 80, 27 and 80s.
Do we have any other questions?
Our GPS that somebody was talking about is on our camera system. That's for that camera system alone. I mean, it can track that car, but it's a recorded GPS, not a active or current time GPS.
Thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Do we have any other comments or questions? Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Manning.
Yes.
Councilmember Sewell.
Yes.
Mayor Lambert.
Yes. All right, item C, permission to obtain bids for time clocks. We want to remove that from the table as well.
I'll make the motion to remove the table.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to remove this item from the table. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Manning.
Move it from the table, yes.
Right.
Councilmember Sewell.
Yes.
Mayor Lambert.
Yes. All right, do we have a motion in regard to obtaining bids for time clocks?
Make a motion to bids for time clock. Not received.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second the question.
Sure.
This is gonna be for everybody, every department.
Yes, sir.
Have a person.
Yes, sir.
What What type of time clock are we looking at? Looking at fingerprint type of ID card or what we have there?
No, I mean, we have none, we don't use time clocks.
Looking at a thumbprint style.
I know time clocks were here once before, and they did, iron out real quick.
It costs us more money. We had time clocks in place now.
Now, approximately half of what you pay for is the equipment, whether you can lease it, and that'll be part of what we look at, the efficiencies we can get through leasing the equipment versus purchasing the equipment with a warranty, which if you purchase it, it's about half the cost, the other half is the software, and it's that time management software that's really impressive. It allows for the automation of payroll efficiencies that certainly help recover the cost of the equipment and software.
Do you have any idea of how many fingerprint machines we're gonna have to locate throughout the city?
We could do it with a minimum of 5. We might be able to stretch from 5 to 7.
Court, City Hall, across the street here at the Recreation Center.
Well, they could come to, they could come to City Hall, it depends on, I have a
Have a
feeling.
punch out over after City Hall's closed.
Would,
They have keys.
The key, I would, yeah.
okay.
So there's 2, police department's 3, and then you're gonna put street and sanitation.
We would do those together, we would do one at the park, the courts would use the City Hall.
Oh, okay.
So, we're trying to be as minimalist as possible while providing for the
Buildings instead of apartments. Because we have 3 to 4 departments in this building. We
Yes.
have one
Yeah.
clock for the whole building.
one clock for everybody in City Hall. And the
2
community
fire
center.
halls, we're gonna have 2 time clocks. We'll be reporting there and there, and put a substation for the police down here, that we're gonna be equipped to punch them in and out versus this one up here.
Well, if that's the way JR wants to set it up, I think now they all report here, that's just for reporting
Yeah.
and convenience, that's not for clock. But there'd be a clock there, they could still use the same time clock. Camp Jordan would have one.
Basically, couldn't anybody use the time, any of them?
Yes.
Because it's one system.
If
Yes.
you've got,
I
sanitation,
could go to the park, if I started my morning there, and there'd be mornings where I drive from home to the park because I have a meeting, I could actually clock in at the park as opposed to City Hall. So it's not really based on it's not based on where you work out of, it's based on the system. If you're in the system, then you're able to clock.
So we can have a court employee at the park at the end of their lunchtime, they can punch in,
Yeah, that's correct.
even though they're not back at work.
And we would have a report of that, and it would be recorded, so that.
Right, it was,
They're not
it
even
would,
back at work.
the system would be able to tell you where they clocked in at.
Correct.
So if
But
someone
that's
was
it.
looking through records and there was an
That's
employee
probably
every day after lunch,
right.
if it was down in the park, then, yeah, they would.
That'd be an issue that
You
we.
would, yeah,
We would obviously discourage that,
Yeah,
but
Well,
you
I
know,
wouldn't think so.
the cheaters are gonna cheat no matter what you do.
I'll just kind of bring it up like,
Whether it's an honor system or whether it's a time clock, cheaters are gonna cheat. And right now, we don't have any way of checking and balancing that. People can write anything, I can call you and say, Jackie, sign me in, but I can't call you and say, Jackie, clock me in. So there's a big difference, and it does not cost more money, it will save us.
Will save us money.
Well, what I'm saying about, we have a lot of our employees, all employees, do time, works a lot of overtime. You sit down and figure it out at the end of the year, it's cost us more money. We're having the time clocks, we're paying the overtime they work.
Well, by law, we have to pay them overtime anyhow, that's federal law, that's
A lot
not
of
just
times,
bridge.
like, I won't call them names, but a lot of them work, you don't even charge a city for it.
That's an unfair labor practice, so we can't do that either.
I didn't say city, yes, a lot of the employees work overtime, don't charge.
But we have to pay them.
Councilman, I've seen read stories of cities being sued because they didn't pay that time, the employee was let go, or the employee, something happened. I'm not saying that would happen here, but now, if that happened, I don't think any of our employees would do that.
No.
But should someone get disgruntled, they could come back and potentially take legal action against the city for unpaid time. Yeah. So that's it, again, we're trying to mitigate risk with this program, that's the reason we're proposing.
And again, this is a bid process, this is not a purchase process.
Right.
I think a local franchise food establishment can earn under that.
Yes.
In a big way. Mayor, if I can go back and make sure that Ms. Middleton reflects in the minutes that those two matters were taken off the table, taken from the table pursuant to Chapter 10 of Robert's Rules of Order, which provides that anyone can make a motion to take a matter from the table.
All right, so we do have a motion and a second to obtain bids. Do we have any other comments or questions? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Cagle?
Yes.
Councilmember Manning?
No.
Councilmember Sewell?
Yes.
Mayor Lambert?
Yes. The obtaining of permission to obtain bids is granted. Under new business, item A, ordinance number 983. We discussed this briefly in the agenda session.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, adopting a design review manual here on first reading.
Make a motion to approve.
For
What's the motion?
About having discussion, somebody said.
Were we wanting to discuss the design review manual tonight? And we can, certainly we can.
Oh,
But,
I mean-
I mean, it's up to you all. We had talked
I'm
earlier about
just
possibly.
gonna make the motion, you know, you gotta have a motion second before we discuss.
Yeah, that's fine. So if someone would like to second the motion just for the sake of discussion, we can
I'll second
talk
the
those
motion.
things. Okay. So we can discuss.
This is something I think the city needs for new business to come in. We want the buildings and the property to be, you know, nice. We don't want somebody just coming in putting up a metal building. I think there's some tweaks in here that they've been doing also since we've got our report. So I did this just to discuss it a little bit. But if we do, when are we going to get the final? We got this weekend, some signage and such as that.
I think there's going to be some input that's necessary from this body in order to go forward, especially with the signs, regs, and that type of thing. So we probably for sure need to have a workshop to discuss further to gain input.
Can I withdraw my motion then, and make a motion that we,
So you're withdrawing your motion? Well, I withdraw my second.
and that we have a workshop in this?
Sure.
We have a workshop today, you want to go to say, or?
I don't think so. So, I mean, if you want to come up with a date, we can, or if you want.
Well, why don't the staff advise us what they have to,
That's
what we
good idea.
what we need to look at, because we have the meeting until it's all worked out, and then we'll try to have a call meeting on that workshop, and make Mr. Gravett be here too.
Gotcha. All right, so we have a motion on the floor to schedule a workshop upon word from staff that they have the final tweaks made as far as what they want to present to us and
We should have something our next meeting.
Could we get the tweaks about a week ahead of time so we have time to read them?
We actually have an extra week now between normal, with it's almost 3 weeks to our next meeting, so yes, we should be able to get you something in plenty of time for that.
all right. We have a motion and a second to schedule that workshop. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Cagle?
Yes.
Councilmember Manning?
Yes.
Councilmember Sewell?
Yes.
Mayor Lambert?
Yes. Item B, ordinance number 984.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, to amend ordinance number 971 entitled, "An Ordinance to Provide Revenue for the City of East Ridge, Tennessee for the fiscal year July 1st, 2014 to June 30th, 2015, appropriating the same to the payment of expenses of the municipal government by changing revenues of the general fund and grant fund, designating a portion of the fund balance of State Street Aid Fund, Federal Forfeiture Fund, and the Solid Waste Fund, and changing expenditure of the General Fund, State Street Aid Fund, Federal Forfeiture Fund, and Solid Waste. Here on first reading.
Make a motion approved.
And if I could, add motion to approve with the corrections as made earlier, as noted earlier.
What was that correction?
Oh, one time.
Right, yes, the admin, the amendment part was, I think, supposed to be $754.80. And,
Street aid, where the label comes from street aid to grant fund.
right, right.
Yes.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve with the stated corrections. We have a second?
I say.
Okay, we have a second. Any other comments or questions on this?
Yes, sir.
No.
$70,000 for the economic development, that is for
There,
attorney fees.
there are approximately 50,000 in attorney fees included there. There was another item I wanted to point out as well, and those are attorney fees related directly to the Board of Regional Legislation. There's another item that I intended to point out during the work session, and that is there's an item in the drug forfeiture fund, and it was something that the police chief had requested, and we had worked for some software updates for the police department, and you know, we have to be careful. There are a lot of rules regulating what we can and cannot take from the drug forfeiture funds. So, we're trying to maximize what we were able to do with that fund, the fund balance there. So.
And this amendment money is coming from where?
They're coming from the fund balance in those funds. Or anticipated revenues that we've not yet received.
Okay, so we do have a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Cagle?
Yes.
Councilmember Manning?
Yes.
Councilmember Sewell?
Yes.
Mayor Lambert?
Yes. And the final item on tonight's agenda, approval to trade surplus equipment for the new Coyote tractor.
Make a motion approved.
This one we talked about last.
Yes, yes, sir. It's the same tractor, the same deal. I think the only change, and it's all the surplus, Ms. Middleton, we add another truck to that surplus, did we not? Or is that not?
One truck.
Yes, yes. Yeah, we've already taken everything you considered, to be correct?
Yes.
The only change is, I've talked to Mr. Hyatt. The deal had been that we were going to get a gator back, which I do have two prices on gators, one for two coming. But he said we would need to take the $10,000 and then, if I'm correct, bid the gator out rather than just trade it with the company. So we'll be getting $10,000 back.
Okay. So, are you,
Yeah.
you're still good with the motion to approve? Okay. So I know last time we had been given an option of just getting $10,000 or doing the trade, so we don't have the two options now. It's going to be, we're getting back the $10,000 and we will bid a gator.
But I still will need the gator because we're downloading a vehicle right now.
Right. Right, exactly. Okay, so we do have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second with a question here.
Sure.
Explain to me why we can trade for one thing and can't trade for both of them in the same trade.
That's going to be a question that, yeah.
I don't understand the questions.
Okay, well, we can make this trade. We can take the surplus, trade for the Coyote tractor, the front end loader, and the tires, and then take 10,000 cash. But we cannot. You're saying now that we're having to bid the gators out.
We don't have to, but it's what I would advise. I think we could get a better deal.
I think they might be able to get it cheaper if we bid it out than
But we could take the $10,000 cash and bid out the gator and save money, is what we're hoping to do by bidding it out. If not, we could return to the vendor and see if we get the same deal. So we're hoping through the bid process, which is the purpose of competitive procurement, that we can, get a little competition and save some money in the purchase of the gator parts.
Basically, you've got two prices on gators.
Yes, I've already got two prices. I got a price from the company that we got our gator from last year, and then I've got the price from these people as well.
How much?
Please bear with me.
Take the AM radio off of them, air conditioning.
Well, this is, the one from Homestead is $9,753.80. The one from,
That's the ones with all your accessories that you have.
yes, sir, with all the bush bumper, or whatever you call it there. So I got it down.
Would that be a better deal, take the head down and grade line and take the floor?
The other one's higher, but let me find it.
You can't say very much. What I was coming on that gator that they were going to give us, you got some extras on that?
Yes, sir.
What all were they putting?
It was the brush protector on the front and the ball on the back for us to be able to pull stuff.
That wasn't being given to us, so was it? That was an added price.
That was added in, yes, sir. That was not being given to us. Oh, here we go. All right. The only thing I got from the other place was a price of $10,500 or a rental rate of $200 per month or $250 per month. But we didn't get an actual, price on that. We just got the $10,500 and then the $250 and the $200. One on lease. Of course, we're probably not talking about leasing right now. If we're going to have $10,000 in our hands, we're going to buy a gator, which Mr. Jablonski had recommended to me earlier. We were talking about it rather than lease one.
We can't come up with a bid cheaper than what?
But we still can go buy from that one. It's not going to hurt us to call and get it. We don't have to bid it out since it's less than $10,000. That's correct. So all I've got to do is tomorrow just finish up the three, make sure we got the three bids, which we do have two of them, get one more of them, and then we'll know what our answer is. It's not going to take us, and then maybe we can go ahead and say, okay, bring us the money, bring that. Which really would be prevent us from doing
Well,
that.
this Homestead here thing, they were gonna actually give us $506 cash back too, that we were gonna spend.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Repairing your other gator.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we were doing that, yes, sir.
This company you're talking about now, ain't gonna do that.
Oh, we're not buying the tractor from them either. That's the bunch, this bunch, one of the people we do business with out of Cleveland on a regular basis on a lot of stuff. Melvin uses them, we use them. The other place in Scottsboro, Alabama, we only did business with them one time. And that was last year when East Ridge Football Club leased a gator from them. And then I got a price from them on that gator after it was a year old, and they still wanted $10,500 for that gator. And that's really not the kind of gator we need. That's a pretty gator. We don't need a pretty gator. We need a workhorse gator.
Are you still planning on working on the one that's broken?
We gotta fix it. We've gotta have it. We've had surplus 2 trucks in the last 60 days, and had to take that other gator back. So we're short-handed down there now. So yes, we've got to get that gator fixed. Yes, sir. If it's feasible to get, and Mr. Cagle used to be in the business of fixing stuff like that, and I had a conversation with him, and he believes we can get it fixed with not as expensive as the other people thought it was going to cost to get it fixed.
I'd like to make the motion that we accept Homestead's first proposal here, where they're going to give us $260 parts credit to repair this thing, and then they're going to give us $246 cash.
Well, it would require, we do have a motion and a second on the floor now, so you would have, Mr. Manning would have to remove your motion. And I believe you seconded for discussion, so you would have to remove your second in order for you to.
I'll remove my
Accordingly.
second to make this new motion.
Will you remove your
Move
motion?
my motion.
Okay,
I'd
so,
like to make the motion that we accept Homestead's bid here, where they're going to give us $260 in parts credit, and they're going to give us $246 in cash money, plus the gator and all the stuff that Stone has on the quote sheet here. Does everybody have? Okay.
Before we vote on that,
sure.
is that the type of game we need when we're talking about now?
Yes, sir, but with either one of these gators, if we bid it, if we get quotes on the others, they'll all be on the same gator. The same style of gator.
Was the tractor on that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Tractor?
Yes, sir.
Well, what is on this is the Coyote tractor, instead of Coyote Thorns, the T-Gator with power dump, 2 front wheels extra with tires on it, and then the trailer.
I'll put it back. Do something back in.
260 parts credit, 246.24 cash. That's what's on this one.
What's the parts credit? Is it?
That's for you to go buy the parts to repair it.
For my new one, yes. For the old one, yes, sir.
So we do have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second? We have a second. Any other questions or comments? Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Manning.
Yes.
Councilmember Sewell.
Yes.
Mayor Lambert.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. That's all that we have tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I'm sorry, there's one announcement.
Well, actually, I just want to let, council know, I do have a meeting tomorrow with some representatives from Life Care, with TDOT, and with the engineers group doing installation of the traffic signal down at that intersection, which is located, same road. Slater and McDonald, yes, thank you, sir, and Ringo Road. So some progress moving there, and probably, hopefully, some more progress with meetings coming up with Life Care in the near future. So there's some things happen, a lot of things happening.
Fantastic.
Aren't they gonna pay for that soon?
Make sure we don't forget.
Yes, everyone return to your folders. All right, thank you folks for being here tonight. Be safe. Have a good night.